So let's transition to the Bears. This is the quote coming from the general manager there, Ryan Poles. Quote, "It just depends on what opportunities pop up. I will say, if we go down that road, I want to do it right by Justin as well." So this is obviously talking about the potential of trading Justin Fields, given that they have the #1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Read between the lines here, Lejeune.
To me, the writing has been on the wall, Brady. I mean, if you keep Justin Fields, Brady, you as a quarterback can speak to this. That would be Justin Fields learning 3 new offenses in a 4-year span. Like, I don't think people understand how hard that is to do, especially at the quarterback position, because you know this, usually at the quarterback position, it takes you to about year 2 to really get the nuances of the offense and feel comfortable in the offense. And then when somebody comes out and says, we want to do right by Justin, that lets you know that most likely they're leaning towards one way, right? So it's interesting that they said that, because usually only vet players get that treatment. We saw Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, those guys have played for a long time, get that kind of treatment when they knew the team was going to trade him. Like, let me pick my destination. So I think it's great for Ryan Poles, and kudos to him. It'll show players that are potentially coming out in free agency that, you know, the GM actually cares about the players and he wants to do the right thing. Now, again, this is a business. We know this, Brady.
Hold on.
This is a business. I'm just saying, they do what they want to do.
Let me push back on that for this reason. They're doing right by Justin Fields. They're doing right for themselves, too. If you get to the beginning of the new league year and you all of a sudden get these trades occurring where Russell Wilson goes and finds a new destination, we don't know what Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield are going to do. They will be free agents. However, they could sign back with their respective teams in Minnesota and Tampa, but there's also a chance maybe they end up signing somewhere else. Maybe Atlanta gets word and that's who they want to go to. If that's the case, you start to eat up some of those opportunities that maybe Justin Fields would have. And I think the other thing is, for each one of those teams that we view on the outside as saying they've got a quarterback problem, they need to solve it and find someone, is Justin Fields the right fit in Pittsburgh? Is he the right fit in Atlanta? With Pittsburgh, that's more of a team where I feel like they've already got a quarterback in Kenny Pickett who's been there 2 years, and they're still trying to figure out what he is. Well, isn't that kind of somewhat how people feel about Justin Fields? And if that's the case, it doesn't make as much sense for me for put Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. Wouldn't you rather bring in a guy like Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, a more veteran player where you know what you're getting and what you're working with if you're Arthur Smith, their new coordinator? So I'm just saying, as much as we want to make this about we're going to do right by them, you're doing right by yourselves, because that's going to maximize their trade potential and what they get back in return for Justin Fields. Otherwise, once these spots start getting eaten up by other quarterbacks, you're not going to have any trade value.
Well, I would push back on that only because, like, when you talk about a Russell Wilson, you say you know what you're going to get. We haven't.
That's a different point, though.
Oh, okay.
You're straying away from the point, though, of what we're talking about in regards to Ryan Poles.
Yeah. Well, to me, yes, they are doing right by themselves because they're trying to maximize the opportunity to send them to multiple teams and get the highest bidder for a pick, which is smart, right? That's great business, what they're doing. But it could be a situation where he comes out and says, no matter what, we're just going to send you where you get the best value. I don't know if this is a scenario like this because he has, I mean, again, Justin Fields is a professional athlete, but he has been screwed over in Chicago in regards to, like I said, you know, this is a quarterback.
It's been tough.
Yeah, like to learn that many different systems and have success, it's tough. And to me, honestly, I wouldn't make the trade for Caleb. I know people talk about starting over the economic clock, but you technically still got 3 years of Justin Fields without paying him if you want to, right? You have the 5th-year option you could use, so this will be his 4th year.
Even this year, his cap hit actually is going to be lower than Caleb Williams.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, to me, like when people say restart the economic clock, I'm like, well, Caleb Williams is technically going to make more money than him this calendar year, and you have the 5th-year option, so you have this year, next year, and then you could even tag him after that. So technically, you still have 3 years without paying him a contract extension. Now, again, you want to know by year 3 whether you feel like the quarterback is the quarterback for the future. But this is a different circumstance. Not only has he gone through new coaching staff, he's gone through a new GM as well and multiple offensive coordinators. So, like, when I look at a team like Atlanta and you talk about the upside of Justin Fields, it's way higher than a Desmond Ridder. It just makes too much sense for him to go to a team like that.
I also feel like this is one of the scenarios where you're a general manager like Ryan Poles. You've had the opportunity now twice to select which quarterback you want. I would assume, and I think most people feel this way, if Caleb Williams was in last year's draft class, he probably would have been taken number 1 overall then. If that's the case, and that's how high the prospect grade is on him, man, it'd be hard if you're a general manager to pass up on taking him. Just because, and it's nothing against Justin Fields, but that's the draft selection that he makes to solidify his legacy in Chicago. And It's almost like, when you get like that mystery box. It's like, we
What's
passed
in
up the
here?
first
What's in
time around,
here?
but now we get the second time. Like, I don't know if I can, I'm going to have to open. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
take that opportunity.
And that's the thing, Ryan Poles has the way, right? When, Caleb Williams coming out, when Justin Fields was coming out, when you look at the two guys, right, who had the higher upside, who's you think is going to be more generational? And to your point, right, most GMs want to stake their claim on their draft pick with their quarterback, whether it's bringing somebody in free agency or picking somebody high in the draft. And Ryan Poles has yet to be able to do that because, again, he had the chance last year, traded away that pick. He's in that same opportunity again by the grace of God or the Carolina Panthers where he gets to pick number 1 overall. So I think, like you said, for him to be able to stake his claim to say, this was the guy that I brought in to change things around in Chicago, it's just kind of too hard to pass up.
And I think the other last thing I just say on this topic is both Ryan Poles and Justin Fields have had to listen to this conversation.
Oh, God.
Ever since it was locked in, Carolina had the number 1 pick, which obviously is Chicago's.
Yeah.
And once they were out of the playoff run, then it kind of gave you that extra ammunition if you're Justin Fields to say, you need to invest in me. I got you to the playoffs. We're progressing. Yeah. Not saying that they still shouldn't. As I've said before, I would still rather stick with Fields in Chicago.
That's me too.
But it doesn't appear as if they're going to go that direction.